Right, so hello, welcome back to the channel, and I've found the heir to Andrea Pirlo's throne. And this player, the way that he passes, the way that he dribbles, the way that he can control the game, honestly, it's an exact replica of prime Pirlo. Now, before I tell you who that is, just want to say a very quick thank you for 350 subs. I know I've not been uploading as much, it's just because of uni, but a big thank you towards that. I'm on a bit of a break, so hopefully I'll be uploading a bit more, and if you guys could subscribe and share the video around, it helps the channel out immensely. But let's get into who it is. Now, the player, it's Billy Gilmour. Now, I know what you're probably going to say, oh, you're so biased, you're Scottish. It's Billy Gilmour because when I was watching the Scotland versus Holland game, the way he moves and everything he does, it just reminds me of Andrea Pirlo. Now, what made Pirlo Pirlo was the fact that he basically had a free role, and when he was playing at his best, it was in Milan and Juventus and in the Italian teams as well, where he had players like Gattuso, Vidal around him, and just anyone who is willing to run, put in the dirty work, but still had that bit of quality, meaning that he could just get the ball deep in the pitch and control the tempo, control game management, control the range of passing, basically set up every single play-by-play, every single possession, all went through him. And Sir Alex Ferguson even said that the way that he stopped these AC Milan teams was just by man-marking Pirlo. He put Park Ji-sung on Pirlo in 2008, 2007. It was just, that was his job. Just make sure you mark him, don't basically let him do anything. And yes, Pirlo had other attributes. He was a wonderful corner, set-piece taker, his Panenka penalties against the likes of England, so forth. But it was his dribbling, his decision-making was absolutely immense, and the weight of his pass. It was just every time perfect. Now, Billy Gilmour, am I saying he's going to be as good as Pirlo? No, absolutely not. But if there's a player in world football that is as like Pirlo, I've not seen it compared to what Billy Gilmour currently is. Now, having been a massive fan of Scottish football, I knew about Billy Gilmour coming through at the Rangers Academy, and you know, he went to Chelsea. It was about 500-600k for a 16-year-old, 15-year-old at the time, and everyone was going a bit mental there. Now he has won European competitions with Chelsea, and he's had some hardships in the way that he went on loan to Norwich, but Norwich didn't utilise him. They didn't know how to properly get the best out of him. And he had a pretty dire spell there, and he left a sour taste in the Norwich fans' mouths, basically, as they got relegated. But he gets more and more chances, the better quality you see from him. I remember when he got man of the match against Liverpool in the Cup, and he just tore Fabinho and toyed with him around for ages, and he was about, what, 18, 19 years old then? He was absolutely immense. Now, Chelsea, they don't give players time anymore. It's just not what they do. If they don't think you're good enough or anything, they just sell you. And if you're unhappy, they sell you. They've got a very harsh model, so he should realistically be in this Chelsea side, but they got rid of him. He's at Brighton, and he's getting game time, and I know they're now out of Europe, but he got European football experience, playing against the likes of Roma. Yes, I know the scorelines weren't so flattering, but that's going to do him the world of good, getting regular first team football. And for Scotland, when he's not playing, they look an entirely different team. Now, I know what you're going to say. Oh, Scotland lost 4-0 to Holland. You're a banter nation. Ha ha ha. Yes, I do get it. But one, it's a friendly. I don't really mind too much because Steve Clarke wants to see what different players could do. Two, it's not really Billy Gilmour's fault. I mean, 1-0, Shankland has a chance, missed it. Any other given week he scores that, and there's problems within the defence, which you saw when Kieran Tierney got taken off as well. So there's a big hoo-ha about who the goalkeeper should be. None of this reflects on Billy Gilmour, and it was 1-0 when he got taken off, but Scotland were very much the better team for the first 70 minutes. And all those qualities and attributes I said about Andrea Pirlo, the calmness under pressure, that's what Billy Gilmour's got as well. He's the only player who, in a Scotland jersey at least, wants the ball. He gets the ball, he drives forward, he's positive thinking. What he just needs is some runners beside him, and that's why Callum McGregor works so well in the Scotland setup, because he is a willing runner. Scott McTominay is a willing runner. John McGinn is a willing runner. So he's got all these players around him, and they've all got a bit of quality about them as well. Ironically as well, with Chelsea selling him, Chelsea could do with a player like that in their midfield, because Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, Gallagher, they don't drive the ball forward. That's not really what they're there to do. They don't control the tempo of the game. They're all kind of runners, and they would love to play with a player like Billy Gilmour who can dictate the tempo. He would fit perfectly in that team if they still had him. Now, for me, he is Scotland's most important player, in the same way that Pirlo was the most important player at AC Milan, Juventus, and the Italian national team. Because if you look at those three teams, AC Milan sold them in about 2012. That was the start of their decline, and they haven't recovered until a year or two later. So it set them back about 8 to 10 years getting rid of Pirlo, and they just completely collapsed. I know there was other issues there, but they didn't play the same. They weren't the same sort of team. So yeah, him going, that affected them. When he left Juventus as well, there was no more Champions League final runs, no more European football. Yeah, they won the league or two, but at the same time, it wasn't very difficult for them then, because there wasn't a lot of challenges. And when he left the Italian side, they started not qualifying for tournaments. Yes, they did win Euro 2020, I get that. And that's about it though, because you take away that Euro 2020 run, they've not done anything since about 2014. And I know he was in the side for all that, but they've not looked as good a team, and they haven't qualified for anything other than that Euros win. And that is all because of the ability of Andrea Pirlo and the importance of him. And that's why I think Billy Gilmour is the most important player for Scotland, because without him, there's nothing that flows or ticks or moves within that midfield. There's a lack of quality there. Now, at the exact same time, that's why you need to build a team around him. He's only 22 years old. He's going to get better and better and better with time. And now, more than ever, is the time to build around him, because you have got players in other positions. They're all that sort of 28 to 30 year old kind of player, the likes of Robertson, Tierney, McTominay, McGinn, the players who you would describe as the key players. They're all getting up there a little bit in age, especially for international football, where players retire at 32, 34. So they've got maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 tournaments left. Billy Gilmour could have 5, 6, 7. So you need to build around him and make sure that you've got the players around him that can get the best out of his ability. Very much in the same way that England should be doing that for the likes of Bellingham and Foden, and they should be doing that right now. That's what they need to do for Billy Gilmour. He's cut from the exact same cloth. Gilmour, he didn't idolise Pirlo. I'm sure he did respect him. He said that his idols were the Barcelona trio of Busquets, Xavi, Iniesta. He doesn't play like Busquets at all. I mean, he does with the calmness and composure in that deep role, but it's not quite the tackler or anything like him. Iniesta, he doesn't go forward as much as him. He's not got that quality in the final third or even the dribbling capabilities that Iniesta has. He'd probably be most akin to Xavi, who was a bit like Pirlo in his own right, but again, Xavi is a bit better in that higher up position, but Gilmour's a bit better defensively. That's why it's Pirlo. Pirlo is his comparison, and if he keeps on going at the rate he's going at, he has a real chance to become Scotland's greatest ever midfielder and overtake the likes of Graham Souness for that title. So that's who I believe the brand new Pirlo is. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Who do you think is similar to Pirlo? And if you don't think Pirlo, who do you think Gilmour is similar to? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading them, it's brilliant. Thank you so much for the support on the channel recently. As I said, I'm going to try and do more and more videos. I've got a bit of time off uni, so we'll try and get back into the flow of things. Thank you so much for watching. If you could like, share, subscribe, it helps the channel out immensely. Thank you, and yeah, cheers.